Welcome back, everybody. Well, I think it's time to transplant these tomatoes, and I think we'll do the peppers too. Everything is out in its second leaf or first set of true leaves, and things are starting to get a little tall, so we'll fix that when we transplant everything over. So stay tuned and check it out. This is the tray we're going to be using to transplant in. It's a 72 deep cell, so the cells are quite large and go down fairly deep. The mixture we're using here is BX brand ProMix. Now, any potting soil will work, but make sure it is potting soil. Don't transplant new seedlings into garden soil or topsoil or some sort of enriched cow manure or something silly like that. Potting soil is designed for seedlings and new transplants. There's no actual soil, although why it has it in the name, who knows, but there is no actual soil in potting soil. Vermiculite, perlite, peat moss, and a few other odds and sods in here. Good sterile, which is the main thing. You're not going to get weeds growing up in this. Light draining soil. Basically, you want to soak your soil mixture and mix it up so it's just moist to the touch. Just holds together just barely. You know it's wet enough then. Mix it into your trays, and then you're all ready to plant. Press it down in fairly good, and then you can work your transplanting off of that. So we'll get a few planted up here, and then we'll see what we can do to show you the process. So here we have our first batch of tomatoes and peppers planted out in our cells. And basically what we're doing here is where just zip over here to the other side. As you can see, our peppers and tomatoes have good root system on them, and because of the high humidity here in the little hoop house, they've got a lot of aerial roots as well. So they'll go over here to the tray, and basically what we'll do, dig our cells down, and our cells are a good 2.5 inches deep, and we'll take them almost to the bottom and bury them in. And with the tomatoes, they'll root all the way along the stems, and the peppers will be fine that way as well. But the tomatoes, you'll really notice that they'll root down, and you can see that I've got them curled down in. I don't know if that'll show up in the video here or not, but I've got them curled down in, so that'll help take a lot of the stringiness out of the plants. So then, instead of being these great big tall tomatoes, big tall long leggy seedlings, you'll get them down nice and short. See if I get a different angle here. There we go. Nice and short plants, and they'll root all the way along the stems and come along quite good. So I'll try to do this right from start to finish. So we've got a fairly tall tomato seedling here, and you can see it's got a fair number of aerial roots. We'll give it a little tug, and you can see it comes out with quite a few roots on the base as well. It's just a little tangled in with the other tomatoes, but there we are. Camera will focus there. Good root section, but we've got a lot of stem here that we really don't want right now. So we'll go down as deep as we can into the cell tray, but they're nice and flexible at this age, so we'll curl it down and around into the cell tray. And we only need about an inch or so, as long as the true leaves are above the ground. Even if the seedlings leaves there are below the ground, that's fine, and you can see them below the ground in that particular cell tray and everything curled around. That will all form roots. So we'll just throw in a bit of soil, pack it down, and try to get soil on all four sides of the plant. Pack it in, and we'll water that down, and we'll have a nice looking tomato transplant when everything's done. And it should be quite well rooted. But this is running around the 2nd or 3rd of April right now, so we've got at least a month and a half before these tomatoes can go into the garden. Of course, there'll be 2 weeks of hardening off, which we'll cover later on as well. So they'll have lots of time to grow and get some more size on them before then. Now, some of you will probably be curious as to how our coleus cuttings are doing as well. And they're coming along really nice, especially our first batch. If you want it, you could probably take a cutting off of the first batch right now, a small tip cutting, and double up your stock. But as you can see, the roots are really good on these guys, and I think we'll pull most of these guys out as well. You can see really good roots there, so much so they're spreading over and filling up the cells beside them that weren't used. So we'll pull these guys up. Tangled up here, there we go. And we'll get them into our same tomato tray that we were working with. You can see we've got some started here. That was our last batch there. They'd getting some roots on them. Now, unlike the tomatoes where we're digging out most of the dirt and then packing it back in, these guys we can just poke a hole in with our finger, throw the cutting in, and then just pack the dirt around it. They're a little more sturdy, not quite as complicated or delicate. And again, with the cuttings and that, if you've got too much root, you can always trim a bit off, just like a potted plant that you were transplanting in that. It doesn't hurt to tease the roots apart in that. But make sure any roots that you do have, you try to bury as much as you can. And if there's been a lot of aerial root production because of the high humidity and that, you want to try to bury right up the stems on those if you can. Might as well take advantage of those roots, or take a cutting and cut them in half and plant them out. Either way works good. So there's another one. Really nice root growth on that. Nice over top growth as well. So we should have a good crop of coleus when all's said and done here. We'll water these all in and get them under the lights.